So the next step is to verify response token with Google. So here we're going to call the Google endpoint and verify if the token is valid. For that, we're going to use a service. So let's create a new service. Let's call it Google Captcha service. So in this service, we're going to have a method, a synchronous method that called verify token. It takes an input of token, and we're going to have a try and catch method. If something goes wrong, we're going to return false. Here, we're going to call our Google endpoint. So what's the endpoint? It's this one. Let's copy where URL is equal to. Then we need to pass the secret. Secret is equal to. Okay, so we have a problem here. We need access to our Google Captcha config in the service. So Google Captcha config is where we save the secret and key. So let's do that here. So we're going to inject the config through here. For that, we're going to call iOptions monitor Google Captcha config, and we're going to introduce read-only field. Awesome. So what this does is it basically gets the options from our program and injects it as dependency. It dependency injects the value here, and we have access to it so that we can use it right here. So let's say config dot current value dot secret key, and the second parameter is response is equal to token. Awesome. Let's call our endpoint now using where client is equal to new HTTP client, where HTTP result is equal to await get client dot get async. You're going to call this URL. So we're going to check if HTTP result dot status code, if it's not equal to OK, we're going to return false. If not, we're going to get the whole response as a string. Response string is equal to await client.con http result.content.read string async. Once we get that, so here we'll have the whole response as a string. So we will have something like this. So here we'll have to convert this into a C# object so that we can easily work with it. So let's quickly do that. Here, let's add a class. Let's call it Google Captcha response. So we're going to need two fields here, bool success, prop double score. Okay, once we get this value, we're gonna call this Google result is equal to JSON convert dot deserialize object to type Google Captcha response, and we're going to pass the response string. Awesome. So finally we say Google result dot success and Google result dot score is greater than equal to 0.5. In this line, what we're trying to do is we're going to see if it's success and the score is greater than 0.5. If these two conditions are met, we're going to say it's true. Awesome. Now let's see how to use this service in our backend. To use our service here, we're going to inject it as a service. So let's call it Google Captcha service, and let's add read-only field called service. I'm going to rename this to Google's Captcha service. And then here, we basically, before we validate our model, we have to do this. If I'm going to pass the token. Once we verify it, we're going to check if Captcha result, if it's false, then we're going to return the page. Awesome. So we have wired our service right here. Now let's see if this, actually we got to do something before. In order to inject this service, we need to add it as a transient in our program.cs. So let's do that. Builder.services.add transient, type of Google Captcha service. Okay, everything looks good. Let's put a breakpoint right here and run our program. Let's go to the login page. I'm going to quickly open the inspector. We have the token. Awesome. Let's add our info and sign in. Okay, now let's go into that. Yes. 10. Beautiful. Now let's see if this works. The status code is okay. The response string is false. Okay, Google result. So here it's saying invalid keys, which means I passed on the wrong key. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Got the token. So here's the culprit. I made a spelling mistake, adding an extra Y. So now let's stop it and restart the application. Let's go to the login page. Let's submit the information. Let's go inside and see if this works. We have OK, and this time it's true. We have success set to true and a score of 0.9. And once we cast it, the whole equation is true, and then we have a successful result. Awesome, it's successfully redirected to the index page. Now, in this front-end implementation, there's a small problem. Let's go back to the Google documentation. Where do we have it here? Let's see, client-side integration. So Google, what it says is the token, once we retrieve it from the server, it's valid for 2 minutes, and after that it expires. Say, for example, we have a client or a user who comes to the login page, and the page retrieves the token and stores it. But the client takes so long that it's more than 2 minutes, and the token has expired. And after that, the client submits the form. Now the token is going to be obviously invalid, so they won't be able to sign in. So this is unwanted behavior from our application. So we should have a way to automatically refresh the token every 2 minutes. Let's see how to do that. So here, I'm going to say set interval. Let's call this, since our application to reset its token every 2 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and safely say it's gonna do it every 115 seconds. And let's call it function get token. And we're gonna copy this extract it here, and then we're going to call it every 115 seconds. And in the beginning, we're going to execute that function so that when the page is loaded for the first time, this is executed. Now let's run our application again. Let's go to login, inspect. Awesome. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Take care.